Ever wonder why retiring at 35 sounds like paradise until you actually try it? Turns out, ditching your job 3 decades early comes with a rulebook nobody bothers to read. Imagine you've just walked out of your office for the last time at age 38. Your colleagues think you've lost your mind, your parents are concerned about your potential, and you're standing in your kitchen on a Tuesday morning with absolutely nothing on your calendar. Welcome to the dream, right? So here's the question everyone's afraid to ask. What exactly do you do with 16 waking hours when you're not building a career, climbing a ladder, or proving anything to anyone? The silence in that answer is where things get interesting. You see, the early retirement fantasy always starts the same way: tropical beaches, sleeping in, finally reading those books, maybe learning guitar. But nobody mentions the part where your identity has been wrapped up in your job title for 15 years and suddenly that's just gone. Who are you when you're not what you do? Here's the mechanics behind what actually happens. Most people who retire early spend the first 6 months in what researchers call the honeymoon phase. Pure euphoria. Sleeping late, binge watching everything. Then month 7 hits, and you realize you've essentially put yourself in a luxurious prison where every day is Saturday and Saturdays lose all meaning when there's no Monday. Picture yourself at a dinner party when someone inevitably asks what you do. You say, "I'm retired," and watch their face contort into confusion because you're clearly not 70. They ask what you did before, you tell them, and then comes the dreaded follow-up. So what do you do all day? Cue the existential crisis, wrapped in small talk. The financial gurus selling the early retirement dream love talking about the 4% rule and index funds. What they conveniently skip is the psychological toll of watching your nest egg become your lifeline when you've still got potentially 50 years of life ahead. Every market dip feels like a personal attack on your future. Now here's where it gets genuinely tricky. Your friends are all still working. They're busy from 9 to 5, exhausted on weekends, and definitely not available for spontaneous Tuesday hikes. You've essentially opted out of the shared experience that bonds most adult friendships together. But let's flip the script for a second. Because despite the chaos, there's something profound about reclaiming your time before your knees give out. You can travel when flights are cheap and destinations aren't crowded. You can be present for the people you love without checking your phone every 5 minutes for work emergencies. The real secret ingredient? Purpose beyond a paycheck. The people who actually thrive in early retirement aren't the ones sipping margaritas indefinitely. They're the ones who traded one form of work for another. Volunteer work, passion projects, community building, mentoring. They didn't retire from responsibility. They retired from obligations they never wanted. Think about this. Society conditions us to believe our value equals our productivity. Early retirement forces you to confront that programming head on. Are you worthy of existence if you're not generating quarterly reports? Spoiler alert, yes, but convincing yourself takes work. Here's the irony everyone misses. Early retirement requires more discipline than working does. You have to create your own structure, set your own goals, and resist the gravitational pull of meaninglessness. No boss is checking in, no deadline is looming, no performance review is coming. You're the CEO of absolutely nothing, and that's terrifying. Some early retirees describe the first year like being released from prison, only to realize you've forgotten how to function in the outside world. Your entire adult life has been regimented. Wake up, commute, work, commute, sleep, repeat. Suddenly all that structure evaporates, and you're expected to just know what fulfillment looks like. The healthcare situation deserves its own horror movie. If you retire before 65 in the US, you're navigating the private insurance maze without an employer subsidizing the costs. That dream retirement budget just got more complicated when you're paying $800 a month for coverage that barely works. But here's what the critics won't tell you. Working until you're 65 guarantees nothing. You might hate every minute, sacrifice your health, miss your kids growing up, and then get 3 years of retirement before your body quits. That's the trade-off nobody wants to discuss at networking events. The adaptation phase is real and it's brutal. Your brain spent decades optimizing for career, success, networking, skill building, office politics. Now you have to completely rewire yourself for a life where none of that matters. It's like learning to walk again, but harder, because everyone's watching and judging. Social media makes it worse, obviously. Everyone's posting their early retirement highlight reel, beach sunsets, morning yoga, artisanal coffee. Nobody's posting about the panic attack they had at 2 a.m., wondering if they've made a catastrophic mistake. The loneliness is real and it doesn't photograph well. There's this unexpected phenomenon where early retirees start romanticizing work. You remember the camaraderie, the clear goals, the satisfaction of completing projects. Your memory conveniently edits out the terrible meetings, the office politics, the Sunday night dread. Nostalgia is a liar, but it's persuasive. Here's the adaptation strategy that actually works. Treat retirement like a job you actually want. Set goals, create projects, build routines, measure progress. The difference is you're working for yourself on things that matter to you, not generating shareholder value for people you've never met. The ongoing cycle looks like this: initial euphoria, existential crisis, gradual reconstruction of identity, eventual equilibrium. Most people hit a sustainable groove around year 3 when they figured out their personal version of meaningful existence. But those first 3 years, absolutely chaotic. Present-day reality check. Early retirement is exploding in popularity, despite all these challenges. The FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early, has convinced thousands to optimize their 20s and 30s for escape velocity. They're not wrong, but they're also not fully prepared for the psychological aftermath. And here's the delicious irony: many early retirees end up working again, just on their own terms. They start businesses, consult, create content, teach. They didn't actually want to stop working. They wanted to stop working for someone else on someone else's schedule. That's a crucial distinction the retirement industrial complex ignores. The benefits are undeniable if you navigate the chaos correctly. You get to design your life instead of inheriting someone else's template. You can prioritize health while you're young enough to enjoy it. You can take risks, explore interests, and pivot without worrying about career trajectory. Living without regret means accepting that early retirement isn't an endpoint, it's a beginning. It's not about escaping life. It's about engaging with it on your terms. The people who regret it are the ones who retired from something without retiring to something else. So what's the real dream? It's not endless vacation that gets boring fast. It's having the freedom to pursue what matters, the time to build relationships, and the autonomy to change course when something isn't working. But you have to actively build that life. It doesn't just appear when your paycheck stops. The striking truth: early retirement is less about age and more about intentionality. Some people retire at 35 and waste decades. Others work until 70 and love every minute because they chose work that matters. The real question isn't when you retire, it's whether you're living deliberately or just following a script someone else wrote. That choice is available right now, paycheck or not. But here's the twist: figuring that out before you quit might save you from the most expensive mistake of your life.